I've stolen hundreds of dollars worth of water just by saying 5 words. Story 1. I took $30 out of my colleague's farewell gift contribution when I found out she blocked me on Facebook. So I 20F work at a big law firm as a paralegal. My colleague 30F is also a paralegal. We've both been working there for 2 years. She can be dramatic and gossip why, but other than that, she's good at what she does. She started treating me different ever since my proposal to go part-time got accepted by the executive due to studies. A lawyer that I'm close with even told me that my colleague said that I suck up to the lawyers. I don't know how true this is. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding. I am just kind to everyone. Closing parenthesis. So she got accepted in a different job last week, and she'll be leaving soon. We're all contributing to get her a farewell gift, and she really wants this expensive makeup set from Sephora. She can't afford expensive makeup because she lives paycheck to paycheck. Well, this week, I found out that she blocked me on Facebook for no apparent reason. I thought to can play at that game. The next day at work, I took back my $30 contribution towards her gift, and we're now short on her makeup set. Nobody knows how much I donated because I'm the one who is in charge of counting the money and collecting donations. Hey Kate, you're getting a gift card to a department store instead. Edit. I took my own $30 contribution back which I donated in the first place. Yes, I know it's better to kill with kindness, but I'm not going to put my own hard-earned money to reward someone who attempted to destroy my image in a field which I will be potentially working in. Comment 1. I hate it when people call others a suck up just because they are nice. I always try to be nice, even more so to people working retail, because I know they see jerks all day. My boyfriend always calls me a suck up, which is nonsense. If the store is a mess, I will say something nicely. There is nothing wrong with being likable. Comment 2. Is it just me, or is it weird that a 30-year-old made a request for makeup for leaving a job? I don't know the whole situation, but the only mature scenario I could think of is if someone said to her, hey, we're putting together a present for you. Any requests? Or her constantly talking about this makeup that she wants and then the team decides to get it for her as an exit gift. Comment 3. When people leave a company for another job, there's no need to donate money to them. If they're a wonderful person and you were close, maybe a simple card with some well wishes would be appropriate. Giving money to someone who's been nasty to you is absolutely unnecessary. Comment 4. Make sure it's not a JCPenney gift card. My JCP credit card has it printed on the back that it's also good to use at Sephora, since Sephora's have been popping up in JCP stores for a few years now. I'm not 100% sure, but I think JCP gift cards might be good for Sephora purchases too. Comment 5. Did this too. My situation's a bit different though. I bought gifts for family I've never met before traveling to my parents' country. I gave a really cute purse to my cousin, and she was so excited about it and thanked me a lot. Fast forward a month later, my other cousins that I had known for years start telling me she was bad-mouthing me behind my back. Made sure to return to her house before my flight home for some boots I had left at her house, and on the way picked up my purse that was hanging in her closet. Came back home and regifted to my best friend. Comment 6. It's a donation. I wouldn't have judged you badly if you had to go to the person who was in charge of the farewell gift to get your donation back. Either. People have things that come up that can require requesting asking for a donation back. In this case, Kate is a big jerk that has been trashing you professionally, and you chose to take back your donation. The pressure to donate when all your coworkers know how much you have given or not is crappy for everyone. I am a. Comment 7. Used to carpool with this guy from work. I did all the driving. He didn't have a car. Jude never gave me gas money or said thank you. I later saw that he never accepted my request to follow him on IG. I know it seems like schoolgirl drama, but I was like, seriously man, I give you a ride every day and don't bust your balls for gas money, and you can't even accept a follow? I eventually told him I didn't want to give him rides anymore, mainly because he lived out of the way. Not because of the IG thing, but I admit, the IG thing pissed me off just on principle. I totally understand where you're coming from. Story 2. My little cousin cracked my iPhone XS Max screen. Made my aunt pay $329 knowing I have Apple Care, and it only cost me $29. My little cousins are the biggest jerks in the world, and my aunt pretty much lets them do whatever they want without consequence. They were roughhousing and knocked my phone off the counter, shattering the screen. My closest Apple store is about 2 hours away, and it's a huge inconvenience for me to drive there, not to mention the extra gas. So instead of explaining this to her, she's the kind of person who doesn't care about things that don't affect her directly. I told her it was $329 to fix, which is true if I didn't have Apple Care. She wrote me a check for $329 and I only had to pay $29, and I pocketed the extra $300. I consider that my non-disclosed inconvenience fee. Edit: my cousins are 14 and 15. Not exactly toddlers. Comment 1: don't feel too bad. I've done something similar. A girl got real drunk at our New Year's party I hosted, got in a fight with her boyfriend, and started throwing empty glass beer bottles at him in my kitchen, so we asked them to leave. On the way out, she punched a hole through one of our windows. Her boyfriend made her pay for damages after days of her acting like that's the risk you take when you throw a party, so I found a Felco quote to repair it for around $260 and sent that to them. Meanwhile, I used to rehab houses, so I bought a new pane, cut it to size, and put it in with some new siding for about $50 of materials. Didn't tell them that, and took the $210 profit. Because honestly, screw you for being that kind of rude. Comment 2: find that expensive mistakes are what makes parents finally discipline their children. My niece did the same thing to my mom's phone. She climbed on the kitchen counter. Those twins have the horrible habit of climbing furniture, putting their feet on tables and standing on them, and she broke her phone. Her mother obviously didn't offer to pay for anything, and the kids are still misbehaving little jerks, who, by the way, are too old for half the stuff they do. You have all my support on this one. Teach your kids how to behave, people. Comment 3: a couple I used to be friends with have a son that was breastfed until he was about 8 and did whatever the heck he wanted whenever he wanted. We knew they were a bit special in their views on child rearing, but the kid got away with everything. My gaming laptop was in the living room and my daughter told him no one but me was allowed to use it. I'd let my daughter, but you have to ask me. He got angry about it and asked me. I told him no. He ended up threatening to smash it, and I told him his parents would just have to buy me a new one then. He smashed it. It was a $5,000 laptop. I told them immediately they'd have to replace it, and when they realized how much it was, they started freaking out. I went down to the police station, made a report, gave them a copy of the footage from the security camera I had in the lounge room. The charge was malicious damage of property. The short version is, to avoid legal issues, they forked out about $6,000 for me to get a new one. Software that once installed was only able to be used on the one computer. They ended up caving and sending the kid to a boarding school her rich parents had offered to pay for. From what I've heard, the kid has completely changed, and the mum is pissed, as he no longer likes her baby talking to him and having borderline inappropriate physical affection. I know the husband messes around like nothing else, guys and trans women, from what mutual friends tell me. Comment 4: my shitty little cousin broke my brand new laptop on Christmas morning. You best believe I told my aunt and uncle that they owed me $800 for the laptop. Guess that you two aren't very close, but close enough so that your cousin starts acting like an absolute jerk. Hope that there is a way for him to change that disastrous behavior. Comment 5: well, I should have prefaced that this wasn't this past Christmas, but one a couple of years ago. My little cousin is the baby and never really got told no. He has this aggressive brat attitude that I don't gel with. Unfortunately, about 2 years ago, a year or so after the story happened, he was diagnosed with cancer. The tough little guy made it, and we were all happy for it. But as you can imagine, it was tough on him, and no one wants to discipline a kid going through illness. Comment 6: makes sense. Rest to hope that after an event like this, he learns that others can be hurt too. Best wishes on that. Side note, I have read somewhere that toddlers have some kind of sympathy level. Basically, when they're very young, they can only guess what they think. Child is next level, where they guess what the other thinks, and after that, teen is guessing. What A is guessing about, B is thinking. Guessing Inception if you want. P. Comment 7: lots of people are saying Op is awful and a scammer for pocketing the cash. But at the end of the day, she is responsible for damages worth $329 due to her negligence. Op is the one that took the initiative to buy and pay for insurance to prevent having to pay full price for potential mistakes. She can buy insurance to protect her from having to pay full price. If she wanted, she could have bought liability insurance for exactly this type of thing. And maybe she should if she wants to just let her kids do whatever they want. Insurance is meant to protect the insured from financial loss, not anyone else. That logic would throw the entire structure of insurance out the window. If someone hits my car and does $500 in damages, they owe me $500. If I know a guy that can fix it for $100, or I can fix it myself, or if I decide not to repair it at all, that cash is still mine. They can total my car, and I can keep that cash if I want to. Or buy a lesser car and keep the difference. It doesn't sound like this aunt is financially strapped. I like to think Op wouldn't have done this if it was putting her and the kids in a tough spot. But, on paper, she doesn't owe it to her. Story 3. I've scammed McDonald's for over 100 free hamburgers. When you sign up for the McDonald's app, you get an offer for a free hamburger or cheeseburger when you spend at least $1. I learned quickly that you can just log out of that account in the app and create a new one very easily. Since then, I have signed up for over 100 different accounts to get over 100 free hamburgers this way, and I have never even been so much as questioned about it. It's ridiculously easy to do, and I feel absolutely zero remorse for this, editing to add this because people won't shut the heck up about this and keep trying to gotcha me. I get coffee from McDonald's most every day on my commute to work, so anytime I wanted a hamburger I'd just create a new account and then get it for free along with my coffee. I'm not going out of my way to go there all the time to buy stuff just to get the free burger. I'm getting the coffee anyway, so the free hamburger is just a nice bonus. Comment 1. The way I do it is to use one deal on a mobile order before getting there, and then use the QR code on the app to place another order on a kiosk while I'm waiting for my first order. There's supposed to be a 15-minute cooldown, but placing the second one in person bypasses it. Both bags come out within a few minutes of each other, and the workers seem to be aware of the trick. Beyond this, apparently you're able to add multiple accounts to one phone as well, so you could potentially use 4 or more deals per visit if you're willing to cycle through accounts. Edit. Just for the sake of obsessive mean or maxing. You can also place orders using the accumulated rewards points. During this time as well, I've ended up with some truly absurd amounts of food for like $10, which is kind of fun given the substantial price increases the non-discounted menu has experienced. Commenter as a person who used to work at CVS. This guy would come in at least once a week to sign up for 4 extra Care Plus accounts at a time, saying they were for his family. We told corporate. They said there's nothing that can be done about it. So we happily kept signing him up and getting the commission for it. Lol. He told one of our cashiers that he just signs up with a bunch of temp emails. Extra Care Plus is like their upgraded version of their basic rewards program. First month is free. You get $10 a month starting when you sign up. After that cost is $5 a month. So this guy was walking out with $40 of stuff for free basically. He would just cancel right after, so he doesn't get charged. Comment 3. You'd have to be pretty desperate to constantly be making emails and new accounts for like $2. They probably don't care because you wouldn't be spending money there anyway. And the $1 plus you spend makes the whole thing cost neutral for them. Comment 4. They don't care. They used to offer free large fries with any purchase for like 2 years. I lived 4 minutes from a McDonald's, so I just go get my daughters a fries. Well, I got a $1 drink, or got oldest a cheeseburger. Then they switched it to $1 large fries with any purchase. Then it was free large fries with a purchase of a large drink, but the drink is $1.5 now. Large fries are like $3.5 BTW, more than a hamburger. And right now the best deal is BOGO 6-piece nugget or BOGO double cheeseburger. Comment 5. I found out how to use 2 deals on one visit, been getting 3 McChickens for $3.89 for years now. The way I do it is to use one deal on a mobile order before getting there, and then use the QR code on the app to place another order on a kiosk while I'm waiting for my first order. There's supposed to be a 15-minute cooldown, but placing the second one in person bypasses it. Both bags come out within a few minutes of each other, and the workers seem to be aware of the trick. Beyond this, apparently you're able to add multiple accounts to one phone as well, so you could potentially use 4 or more deals per visit if you're willing to cycle through accounts. Edit. Just for the sake of obsessive mean or maxing. You can also place orders using the accumulated rewards points. During this time as well, I've ended up with some truly absurd amounts of food for like $10, which is kind of fun given the substantial price increases the non-discounted menu has experienced. Comment 6. McDonald's had to buy a 6-piece nuggets get a double cheeseburger for free on the app for a while. My McDonald's had a glitch where you can add extra patties and the app would still allow you that for free. I got so many quad cheeseburgers for free using that. Other places were charging you. Eventually, they closed that glitch. Comment 7. Now they probably made much more than 100 burgers worth of profit from having so many people come across this post and think about McDonald's, which makes it more likely they'll choose them in the future. I think that ads and a company's publicity might not directly make you want to buy from them, but you might rather choose them in the future because they seem more familiar than others, even if it's just from seeing their annoying ads. Humans will most likely choose whatever they feel they know the most about. We don't like being uncertain, although it's just an illusion that you know the one company better just because you heard about it more often in ads that you found annoying. Story 4. I stole over $20,000 in a very creative way in the 90s. I worked at a fast food chain in the 90s when I was in high school. When I worked there, they were in the process of phasing out denominational gift certificates $5, $10, and $25. The way it worked was if you spent more than half of the certificate, they gave you the cash back. So if you ordered $5.5 worth of food and gave them one of the $10 gift cards, they gave you the $4.5 back in cash. My manager was in charge of destroying all the existing certificates as we transitioned to the more traditional credit card looking gift cards. So my manager said he shredded the certificates like he was supposed to. But one night when I was closing, I found 2 boxes of the gift cards tucked deep in the dry storage room. They were filled with the certificates that were supposed to be shredded. So I scooped them up, brought them out to the dumpster in trash bags, and threw them away. After we closed, I came back and recovered the bag and brought the certificates home. I counted them. There were $1,025, $1,010, and $505 certificates. None of them had expiration dates. Total haul was $40,000 in fast food certificates. My manager never said a word he couldn't. He had reported them destroyed weeks earlier. Over the next 3 years, my girlfriend and I toured every location in our state and the next 4 states, ordering food and getting the change. We never kept track on a spreadsheet or anything, but we got good at knowing what menu items were just about half. After the first year, we started saving the change in a shoebox and let it build up. I bought my first car for $7,800 cash from the change. And for some reason, a kiddie cone was $1.05. If you gave them a $5 cert, they gave you $3.95 back. We threw away a lot of kiddie cones. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Here are the answers to some of the FAQs. We could hit 10-12 stores in a day if we drove around for 5-6 hours. Both of us would use a gift cert. It was not that labor intensive. The only cameras in the store were the cash registers and takeout window. The manager had no clue who took them, or at least never treated me differently. Each gift certificate had a generic PLU on them. For example, all the $25 were PLU #756. When we stopped selling the certificates, we were told to keep honoring them because they were prepaid. They were not coupons. One can only eat so many ice cream cones. Comment 1 if you think that's bad. Try getting apple pies consistently. I live less than 1.5 miles from 4 different McDonald's, and I've been trying to get one for a week. It's not a machine issue either, it's just blatant laziness. Comment 2. Having worked at McDonald's for 2 years, I can confirm that both your lack of ice cream and apple pies is total crap. The manager doesn't want to have to record a high amount of food waste, so they don't make any apple pies, and they don't want high drive-through times, so they just tell you the ice cream machine is down. Comment 3. I worked at a ridiculously named chain music store in the mall back in the early 2000s, and my manager got busted doing this very same thing after she got promoted to district manager. We were phasing out our gift coins in favor of gift cards at that point, and she swiped a bunch of the coins. Her flaw: she only ran this scam on stores within the district she managed, where the staff knew her and got a little suspicious. Comment 4. I call BS. To get the $7,800 using the highest increment 12 would take 650 trips. That's every other day for 3 years. Even if you could go that often, it's amazingly obvious what's happening when the same person comes in with the same discontinued coupons that earn a cash credit. No manager is gonna let that happen. Comment 5. There's probably 7 McDonald's in my town within a 45-minute drive. Make the rounds one day. 3 days later, send your GF 3 days later go again yourself. That's basically hitting one restaurant once a week per person and getting 14 total McDonald's trips done. Seems perfectly feasible for a few months at least. Comment 6. They probably have hundreds, if not thousands of customers a day, and if you've ever worked at a place like this, you know that all the faces start to blend together, and besides, people working minimum wage don't really care, they just want their paycheck. Probably use the drive-thru as well, making them even less memorable. Comment 7. I did something similar, but not to that extent. At my old fast food job, we used to have an option to discount orders for senior citizens, or provide a manual discount of up to 15–20. I only did this when I needed some small pocket cash. I'd find someone who had an order of about $20 or so and was paying cash. Bring up their total. If I saw them paying cash, I'd hit the discount on the screen and keep notes of how much the register would be over. I mostly only took like 5–10 at a time and not every day. Op has got some nerve for doing that though, hats off to you, haha. Story 5. At 20 I have been hiding tens of thousands from my parents for years. At the start of high school, I was pretty broke, as many high school kids are. To gain more freedom, I worked hard to start my career as a 3D artist, and I was making a couple hundred every few weeks at best during most of high school. Even with how little I made compared to how hard I worked, my mom and stepdad would pressure me to chip in for the groceries and mortgage payments. Keep in mind, we weren't poor or anything, we were middle class, and they just wanted more financial freedom for themselves, so they can consistently go on luxury vacations. I also have a few siblings now in the high years of high school who they also do the bare minimum for. Not bad enough to where it's neglect, but definitely not great parenting considering none of us could focus on our studies while having to work. The creative industry is difficult and unforgiving, and I put blood, sweat, and tears into my work to get where I am at this age. I'm not going to let them pressure me into making any big contributions to their finances so that they can keep going on excessive vacationing sprees. Only me and my girlfriend know how much I really make. I have been saving tens of thousands of dollars without anyone else around me knowing. One day they'll find out how much I have, but for now I will bide my time and take advantage of as little financial burden as possible. Once they do, I'll simply move out and be done with them. Edit. Thanks a lot for the advice and comments, everyone. Just to clarify, I do of course take care of my own expenses and my siblings, since I wouldn't want them to be overburdened like I was. I am not pitching into the household bills because they don't deserve it. They are very much fully capable of handling everything comfortably if they just tone down their luxurious lifestyle, and I would just be reinforcing their irresponsible behavior by helping more. Comment 1. He is doing great for a 20-year-old. Especially in this economy, the parents should not require support from children. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, no. Edit. My parents are refugees who came from a war-torn country. Millions of people died in that war. Many women and children were severely harmed, many of them literally burned alive. Both my parents worked 70 hours a week for below minimum wage because they had no English or work skills aside from labor. They were exploited piecework laborers. You need to really know this dynamic. All that made in USA and made in Canada clothing in the 80s and 90s was actually made by pieceworkers who practically worked for below minimum wage. There is a loophole around labor laws called piecework. For example, if you sew one t-shirt, you get one. But you need to sew 7 t-shirts in an hour to make the equivalent of a 7-hour minimum wage. Sewing 70 shirts in 1 hour is incredibly difficult. You can either work like a machine or work slower and just take whatever money you can get. My brothers voluntarily helped out financially. They were able to save up money because helping out with groceries and bills is cheaper than rent. They saved enough to put a down payment on a house. Now, my parents and all my brothers each own $1 million homes in Toronto. Life isn't black or white. Edit 2. Oops. I put should instead of should not, causing outrage. I meant parents should not need children's help, except in strenuous circumstances. If your dad dies and your mom gets seriously ill, don't be like, screw you guys. Comment 2. Some parents use it as a way to introduce their kids into the world of routine expenses and finances. Not living under a bridge, it's still having to pay towards the household. As a matter of fact, high school is close to adulthood. And at 20, you are an adult now. I know families personally that did this and secretly saved the rent and groceries. money to give back to their child when they were ready to finally start taking full care of themselves. The fact that vacations were taken is irrelevant because the benefits of said vacations were most likely enjoyed in some way, either with the parents away for a time, etc. Using the word pressure instead of flat out saying required or forced makes me think it's subjective in how Op was really living in the household. Feeling pressured is not the same as being forced. If so, that should be made clear. Also mentioned was that Op would continue to take advantage of as little of their current financial burden in that household as possible. Leads me to believe Op is not doing as bad as the perception dictates. Just my 2 cents. Comment 3. This is 15-16-year-old fanfiction. All you 20-somethings with no family yet bought this hook, line, and sinker. This is a kid from a decently well-off family who was being taught some responsibility, like paying bills. It's not a bad thing once you're 18-20 to start contributing to the family wealth or chipping in your share. Do I agree with a high schooler helping with groceries? Probably not. However, this reeks of Western privilege and, to be honest, does not pass my smell test. I am surprised it passed everyone else's. Comment 4. He lives in his parents' home, still on their auto insurance, health insurance, increased electric, water, using a room they pay taxes on. What is wrong with y'all? At 20, you pitch in. How entitled is it to feel like they're luxuries that they worked for and somehow mean you get to freeload as an adult? Comment Five mean 500 a month in rent is thousands a year, and perfectly reasonable for renting a room in many places in this country. As an adult with anything like a solid income, your parents have every right to expect you to pitch in, as if they were renting to a local college student or something. At least from what we're hearing, there is no disability issue suggesting the parents should have been planning on lifetime dependence. Comment 6. My parents were lower middle class, and I grew up with almost nothing as one of 3 siblings still living in the home. They never asked for anything from me, even while I was working. Save that for college, or if you don't go, for your future. This continued until I was 21, when my parents gently encouraged me to move out. I think you and I have different views on parenting. Comment 7. If you are a minor, you must have an adult on your account. I've heard far too many stories of people's abusive parents taking their money. In some cases, the victims had turned 18 and didn't think to remove their parents or transfer the money to a new account only they owned. I was seal owner on both my kids' accounts, and the only reason my son took me off was someone passed a bad check on his account, so he closed it and got a new one. My kids are in their 20s. They don't need me to be on their accounts anymore. It's just inertia that most people don't think to fix this. But if you don't trust your parents, get your own account when you legally can. Comment 8. My uncle has a business, and early on, everyone in our town was gossiping about him going bankrupt. He went over to the capital and took a loan from another bank and had it transferred to his account in our local town for a few months. The gossip died down. He told no one about the money, but somehow everyone knew. Care to guess why? Comment 9. Be prepared for your girlfriend letting it slip. Teens are very bad at not thinking through consequences for other people. They like a MIC drop moment. Make sure your account is in your own name only. You could confirm with the bank that your parents can't access it if you're under 18. And you might want to check your credit report and make sure they've not taken out credit cards in your name knowing you can pay them off. Comment 10. I'm gonna be honest. I lost some sympathy once you said you still live at home. I'm not gonna argue with you that your parents are great, not stingy, etc. I've never met them. But it is very normal to ask kids to chip in once they start earning. The food you eat isn't free. Neither are the bills they pay or the mortgage they pay. And you are not a kid anymore. Quite frankly, it's not any of your business what they choose to spend their own money on. Now that you're an adult, if you were living away from home and they nagged you for money, then that'd be one thing. But living in someone else's house for free and then hiding how much you earn so that you don't have to pay rent is mooch behavior. They're letting you save thousands per month in would-be rent payments, and you're taking advantage of them. Comment 11. From my understanding, he is contributing and even buying things for his siblings, since his parents somehow can't. But this is such a classic American mindset. Kick your kids out at 18, or have them pay normal rent. I guess Americans enjoy seeing their kids struggle. They also shouldn't be surprised when they end up in a care home and none of their kids want anything to do with them. Comment 12. I'm gonna be honest. I lost some sympathy once you said you still live at home, if what he says is true. Then they started asking him to work, and his siblings too, when he first entered high school. Hence why he pays for his siblings' stuff. Maybe it's me, but if a kid is working so much it affects their grades at school, then you're doing a bad job as a parent. We're not talking about working in the summers or anything. His confession was just telling that they don't know how much he makes. And frankly, why should it matter? If they want him to pay rent at market rate, then they simply say, hey, get a job and start paying rent. Comment 13. Yeah, I'm not up, so I don't know what's actually happening. But wanting your kids who are older teens to work while at school is a fair enough thing. Paying some rent or money towards groceries is normal. And if Op is paying them enough for them to afford luxury holidays, then he can afford to move out. Regular luxury holidays are quite expensive and also tend to happen when your kids are older and can look after themselves, which coincidentally is the same time he started making money and paying rent. All of this from a parent's perspective seems very normal in my eyes. Comment 14. I think you would be glad about how your decision is being made 10 years later. Family and friends are all fun and games until crisis shows up. Someone getting sick, someone getting bedridden and needs taking care of, someone in the family in debt. Lifestyle habits such as your family's case may seem minor, but bad habits can accumulate and do collateral damage in years to come. I think in this age, it's perfectly reasonable to save a portion of money to yourself and let it be known only to yourself, not because of distrust or anything, but really for yourself and for your future, or any other circumstances where nobody could help you. Trust me on this. Read everything I said and be glad 10 to 20 years from now. Comment 15. Be careful with your attitude towards your folks. You may not realize it, but they maybe inadvertently taught you independence. I know some people whose parents never made them lift a finger, and now they struggle to look after themselves because they have no discipline or life skills. I'm not saying to go throw all your money at your parents or anything. Just don't be too quick to pass judgment. A lot of young people go through a phase of identifying the faults and shortcomings of their parents. I know I did. But later in life, I've realized that they had their reasons and character faults and that they're struggling humans just like me. The reality is that your parents kept a roof over your head and food in your belly. They raised you in a neighborhood with a good education system and gave you the tools to get started in the world. That's a lot more than what some people get. Comment 16. I'm so shocked by the post totally dismissing the work of their parents. Your post is 100% right that some people do not have that contribution and support from their parents. My best friend worked so hard as a child who grew up in foster care and had to live completely independently from the age of 18. No government support, no family. It really makes you realize that things that seem small might actually be a big support from family and help you have the lifestyle you do. Comment 17. Okay, here's my perspective. You are rationalizing and justifying your situation. Hiding the fact that you do not need to be completely supported by your parents anymore is simply not right. What they spend their money on is none of your business. And the plain fact is they have a grown adult living in their house beyond the age that they are required by law to support. You are being greedy in this situation much more than you are claiming them to be. You are definitely taking advantage of this situation, and you will get no sympathy from me. Come to them and work out an agreement that you'll pay something and do the right thing, or move out. I moved out when I was 18, about 6 months after high school, and yes, you're broke for a while, but you have freedom and you can call a place yours. Time to own up. Comment 18. Deleted my original comment because I went back to read and the wording of the title was too specific for my argument. Basically, I was thinking the tens of thousands in savings might be a lie, based on how little sense it actually makes to be in a situation where they're clearly constantly stewing about how their parents don't deserve anything and letting their resentment fester when if they truly have the money, they can just move and find their own happiness. But maybe it's immaturity and the desire to cause suffering for their parents, to intentionally bleed them as dry as possible because they hate them. But if you read this up, it's never a good idea to stay in a situation you consider to be toxic. If you think your parents are awful people to the point where you resent them and want to take from them like this, consider that staying just to bleed money from them because you think that's what they deserve will only blacken your heart and make you a cold, terrible person in the long run. If you're experiencing something toxic, The only positive outcome will be from cutting out all the toxicity. The money you save from making them pay your bills isn't worth the damage it'll do to your soul. Being a good person sometimes means losing out on $1 or $2 in the short run, but the happiness you'll get can balance it out in the long run if you utilize it. You might find that if you're not clouded by a negative mindset, that will give you the clarity you need to boost your earning potential even more than you can drain from mom and dad. Also consider that if they're truly awful penny pinchers or money grubbers, and that's how they treat their own family, you're not giving them a taste of their own medicine, you're just becoming them. Don't become what you hate. Please. We have enough of that in this world already.